My God, someone with this amount of anxiety running through their veins? Who has time for love? Annie Hall, released in 1977 and is directed by Woody Allen, who's also behind such films like Sleeper, Love and Death, Bullets Over Broadway, Blue Jasmine, and Midnight in Paris. And this film is also starring Woody Allen, who also wrote the picture, and is also starring Diane Keaton, Tony Roberts, Carol Kane, Paul Simon, Janet Marjolin, Shelley Duvall, Christopher Walken, and Colleen Dewhurst. And the reason why we're talking about Annie Hall today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a longtime contributor and supporter of this channel, Dr. Camp. Thank you very much again for sending me a recommendation. Of course, this is a Best Picture winner and is hailed as one of the greatest romantic comedies of all time, and looking at love stories and couples and how they put so much pressure on themselves. And of course, when you have this character who is just so anxiety ridden, those pressures on top of all the other pressures that he's putting on top of himself, it just makes for a lot of hilarious scenes, hilarious dialogue, but you also feel your heart rate increasing because this guy just doesn't know how to release and let go and frickin' relax. So thank you very much, Dr. Camp, for the recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Dr. Camp and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out just like what I did with Dr. Camp here. Comedian Alvy Singer is taking a look back on his life to figure out where things went wrong with his relationship with Annie Hall, to see if there is actually something that he can learn from the mistake, so that eventually he can go off and fight for Annie to come back and be with him. And it's really that simple. We are looking at this comedian's life through his eyes, going all the way back to his childhood, where he's trying to figure out, okay, so I'm very high-strung, I have so much anxiety, I worry about everything, I'm also a funny guy, I come with a lot of high comedy and a lot of talking stuff that makes people laugh, and all of those decisions and upbringing choices that he makes leads him to the path where he crosses with Annie Hall, and they fall in love with each other, they enter a relationship with each other, and through it all we see Singer referencing the audience, talking about this moment that he's experiencing with Annie, or maybe if someone is standing in a movie theater line behind him talking about all of the artistic and all the bullshit tour de force type phrasing when it comes to criticism, and he's calling them out. He pulls out a director that he's criticizing, like the actual director, and then they start talking here. On paper, it could be a very strange script with moments like that, but through the levity and how this character is played, I'm assuming that Woody Allen is very similar to this Alvy Singer character. Never met the man in real life, and probably never will, but I'm assuming that all these anxieties and this character that he is playing is very similar to who he is in real life and how he interacts with women and men, just in any type of relationship that he's in. But this film is very famous for being innovative in how it addresses the audience and how it breaks the fourth wall and how it brings the audience along for this ride. And Singer, who is our protagonist, we're seeing the world through his vision, will just stop a couple on the street and ask them some hypothetical questions, and the couple, not realizing, answers absolutely 100% honestly, and then Singer carries about his day worrying and wondering how this relationship with Annie failed. And it's a tremendous triumph. There's a reason why this film won Best Picture. I didn't look at all the other nominees for that year to see, did this one really deserve to win over all of them? I do know that Star Wars was nominated the same year, so this film did beat out Star Wars, that became a cultural phenomena, which, you know, that's typical of the Academy. The thing that is very popular amongst just average, normal, everyday people like you and me is not what wins Best Picture. It's the tour de force and the artistic endeavor film that typically wins. But all of the politics from the Academy Awards aside, I do enjoy this as a romantic comedy, because this film feels very honest. It doesn't feel like they're placating to anything. A lot of these situations I have experienced over my life with my wife or a loved one, and I guarantee the majority of couples out there have experienced arguments or situations or just high anxiety situations like this couple does in this film. And it's through that realism and that naturalism that makes you chuckle and makes you look at your life to go, yeah, that definitely happened, but you know what? I'm still with the person that I'm in the relationship with that happened to. Some couples are lucky like that and they can move through those situations. Others, like this couple in this film, unfortunately can't. Woody Allen, regardless of how you feel about him in real life, I think does a fabulous job in the role of this film, or if we're just keeping it to the movie. And balancing writing, directing, and acting in the film is a tough thing to do for anyone, and to pull it off as well as he does, it's a triumph for him. And Diane Keaton, who plays Annie Hall, the titular character here, I think she matches the anxiety-ridden stuff of this singer character. She is not as obvious with the anxiety and the depression and all the worries that he just walks down the street and you look at him and you go like, oh yeah, you're worried and you're scared about something. With her, she hides it more, but it doesn't mean that she is any less crazy or any less anxiety-ridden than he is. And they have great chemistry with each other, which is the primary thing that you need in a romantic comedy, is chemistry between your two leads, and it's absolutely visible here. Annie Hall, again, is a delightful romantic comedy. It may not be for the younger people out there. I feel like this is more of a midlife crisis film, because in your late 30s and early 40s, you've been through, or at least hopefully you have been through, some type of situation or several of these situations with a significant other that you can relate to. If you are of younger years, this film may go over your head and you may have to revisit it later on. But if you are in your middle ages like I am, this definitely hits you in the feels, and it's a really fun time. I'm going to give Annie Hall 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen Annie Hall, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.